So what happens when you are in the unfortunate circumstance where you must cancel a booking? That's today on Till We Make It. I'm Mike Quackenbush. The name of this program is Till We Make It, and I want to cover something that has just come up for me. Let's say that you are in a position where you must cancel an upcoming booking, and I want to talk about this in two different ways. One is a recurring booking where you're expected to turn up time and time again working for the same organization, and the other is a booking outside of those parameters where maybe you've only been booked one time, it's a one-off, or it's a place where you do not have a recurring obligation to the organization. So, in the case of a recurring booking, one of two things may crop up. The booking that you know is in question might be very soon, or it might be down the road a bit. If you know this company only runs 4 times a year, they have quarterly events, and the next one feels like it's weeks, if not months away, that may seem somehow like it is a lower priority than if you had a booking that was just days away, or even tomorrow. But the way in which you're going to handle them is exactly the same. As quickly as possible, you're going to reach out to whomever booked you for the event. And if it happens to be way off in the distance, and the reason for the cancellation is something like this. Let's say that 3 months in advance, you find out that your significant other is due to give birth. The due date coincides exactly with this event, which is still 3 months away. You want to advise them as soon as possible. Hey, I've got a major life event coming up, and I think I'm going to be on call. I think I need to be ready to go to the hospital. You may want to start putting together a plan B because I feel like I am not going to be able to make myself available with 100% certainty on that date. I might be having a baby. And as long as you can offer up that kind of advance notice and do it in a way which is perfectly reasonable, most organizations will be very understanding of this. What you're saying is a gigantic life event that you might want to be in attendance for. And you're providing them this information with enough time that they could start to rearrange their plans to make sure they are good to go no matter what happens. So wouldn't it be great if you were notified of anything that's going to jeopardize a future booking of yours months in advance so that you could contact the hiring organization and give them loads of notice to start assembling a plan B? Yeah, that would be great, and it rarely happens. You and I know that injuries can crop up at any time, or a family emergency tends to be emergent in nature. It comes on with no warning, and yet you've still got to be ready to address that. In those cases, you're going to do the exact same thing. As quickly as possible, you will reach out to whomever offered you the booking and advise them of the situation. The more notice you can provide, the more time they have to put together a contingency plan. And be aware, there are contingency plans that may include you, and there are also those which may not. And this will vary based on the emergency or the injury that you happen to be experiencing. So upon hearing that, you might be thinking, Mike, what is one of those contingency plans that doesn't involve me? Well, let's say that you're experiencing a death in the family. Chances are you've got arrangements to make. You might go to a viewing and do a funeral. You're not going to be able to appear at the card. So this cancellation is outright and will feature a contingency plan that you cannot be part of. You'll be preoccupied. Conversely, what is a scenario in which you may be part of the contingency plan? Well, it could be something like this. Let's say that the injury might prevent you from being able to perform in the advertised capacity, but it does not preclude you from performing in some other capacity. Could you function as a special announcer or commentator? Could you be inserted as a referee or be given some sort of authority figure status for the purpose of one event where you get to perform in the role of a special general manager? All of these are contingency plans that still involve you and do allow you to get some face time in front of the audience. I know organizations, in fact I happen to run one of them, that often prefers to make sure that anytime a talent cannot be featured in the way that they are advertised, that they are featured in some other way. And we do this as a make good to the audience. That is to say, we advertise this performer would be here, and although of course we can't prevent injuries, we can still present them in some way, shape, or form as a make good to the paying customers. So I want to offer you one last bit of advice on this topic, and it is about the way in which you will handle the cancellation itself. Going about this with courtesy and diplomacy is key to you getting the right result. And so I have two different pointers on this topic. Number one is don't be vague. A statement like, I am hurt, does not have enough information. That's a little too ambiguous. I am experiencing an emergency. This too does not convey enough information to whomever receives it. And I also know from my experience promoting live wrestling events over the years, the way in which someone presents that to me is really important. When I feel like we are having a conversation about what is going on, we can work together to get a good result for everyone. However, when it feels as if decisions have been made unilaterally, that often reduces our ability to come up with viable contingencies. So here is a way in which you can invite a conversation on this topic while advising the company that hired you that you're not going to be able to perform in your advertised capacity. Hey, I wanted to let you know I've been injured in this way, fill in the blank there. And I think I can still appear at the event, however, I won't be able to wrestle or perform whatever the function is that you've been advertised as. However, I do think I could do this, and offer that as part of the conversation. If nothing else, you've already taken a little work off of somebody's plate by being the first to put forth a potential contingency. And especially in those situations where you know you'll be unable to appear, like a death in the family, and the funeral is scheduled for the exact same time as the wrestling event. Even in those scenarios where you are unable to appear, you might still be able to offer support in some other way. Hi, I'm sorry to say I've had a death in the family, I've got to attend the funeral, I'm unable to appear this weekend as advertised. However, if there's something else I could do to help make this right for the audience, let me know. I could record a promo tonight and send it or upload it to wherever you need it to be. Or I could do this, that, or the other thing. Here are other options for you to consider, even though I know I'm unable to appear at the event as advertised. When someone is injured or experiencing a family emergency and they reach out in those ways that I just outlined, I think it speaks to their professionalism and their diplomacy, and I find it to be very respectful and courteous because I know that they understand the domino effect that can have on the neatly laid plans for any card when a performer, for any reason, needs to pull off. Last but not least, on the topic of injuries and cancellations that are tied to them, I always double whatever I am told by whatever medical professional gives me the bad news. If they tell me that my left arm and hand are not going to be working correctly over the next 2 weeks, I'm going to look 4 weeks out on my calendar and contact everybody within that window of time. I might let them know I think I'm questionable for that date that's 4 weeks out. I will keep you updated. I will make sure that you are in the know whether or not I am able to appear. Now, this might seem like overkill, but as someone who promotes his own wrestling events, I know the further in advance I get to work on my contingency plans, the less stressed I am going into the week of the event itself. And those live event weeks, especially for the people involved in promotion, booking, and all the other things that go on behind the scenes, are enormously stressful. Anything that can be done to reduce their overall stress is in the win column. Do you have a different method of handling these things? I would certainly love to hear about it. You can leave it down below for me in the comments. You keep on being awesome. I will keep on making the videos, and together we will keep on faking it.